is a teacher for Montessori teachers. She is an instructor at MMTTC. She's been doing that for some time. So I'm super excited to have her on the lower elementary team, and I think she's going to be a great fit for the team. So, all right. Thank you, PTA, for providing breakfast to our staff. We did have a nice socially distanced meal together during our staff meeting, one of the first days. So I will actually be submitting those receipts. I gave them to Lisa. We have them in an envelope whenever time allows. But thank you. We appreciated it, and we had it as safe as we possibly could. Oh, and thank you for providing the students with the bead stairs and pencils at tech pickup. I thought that was a nice touch, a nice Montessori touch. I will be reminding staff to attend the PTA meeting, so hopefully we have a few on here tonight. I sent them the link today in an email. Just a reminder, only 3rd grade students are online doing their daily lessons with their teachers. I literally had tears in my eyes popping into classrooms yesterday. It was just so great to see the students, and they were rocking it. Like I sent an email to the Laurel staff last night. I said there was learning taking place, and it's day 2. Like there may have been more learning than there would have been, you know, in a bigger community in the classroom, because I think we got right down, they just got right down to it. They knew like technology, everybody was muted. If they wanted to talk, they unmuted. And so I loved watching it, and it made me in a positive mood, because I think, you know, we can say, oh my gosh, we're going virtual, this isn't going to work. But seeing it yesterday, it made me hopeful. Excuse me. Gabrielle. Gabby. She normally comes out of her room like Superwoman. Come and get the dog, please, now. Okay. Also, okay, so 3K through 2nd, we'll be doing packets and touching base with teachers who will be doing some assessing. So teachers were instructed. I feel like we have, is that bothering everybody? Gabrielle.
We have kids, we know how to tune things out.
You literally have 3 seconds to get out here. I'm taking your phone. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, packets. Okay. So I would say we have touched base with 85, actually no, 95% of our parents. Bring me your phone right now. I told you I was in a meeting. So I feel like we have touched base with probably at least 95% of our parents, which is great. And I know it's hard for those who are kind of just working from packets, because I know it's very parent. Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm in a PTA meeting. Hi, honey. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I just had my cousin stop by with the baby. Hi, sweet. Hi, honey. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, give me like an hour. Come back. Derek's with Derek. I am so sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, packets. I know it's very parent directed, and that can be hard on parents, but I am very confident our teachers are touching base and trying to assess students until we get those Chromebooks. And I'm thinking district is saying mid-September. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm telling parents by October, but we are still hoping every communication that has gone out is saying mid-September. So it'll just be 2 weeks. Let's see. Before I touch on the next point, I just want to let everybody know how proud I am of our EAs and our teachers. They are putting together Montessori-based packets so that when K3 through 2nd comes to pick up their technology, everyone will get a bag full of Montessori-based materials that are homemade. So they're not going to be the wood, you know, spindles like we're used to, and the wood, like color tablets, but we are doing what we can to make it, you know, the most meaningful Montessori-based experience. And so that way, when a student gets a lesson, they are able, the teacher will say, okay, get out your color tablets, you can color them, and then you can match them up. So I'm super excited, and our library is full of supplies, and they're doing an awesome job. So I just wanted to give them a shout out for that. Okay. Let's see. Miss Missy brought up the other day about getting a school directory, and I thought that was a great idea, especially in these times, right? It can definitely help build community for new parents, for parents that, you know, may want to get together for lunch sometimes at the park, play dates, stuff like that. So we thought teachers could talk with or put on their Seesaw accounts, or just email to parents if they wanted to be in our school directory. And I know I have seen it where the parents can choose to do a phone number. They can do phone number or email. They can do phone number, email, and address. There's a lot of ways we can do that. So I thought that would be good. I know I've been talking to Margaret a bit about, somebody did also ask, would PTA be willing to purchase headphones with microphones for teachers? I think only 1 or 2. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
sorry, because I can't see the screen anymore. I think a few of them have them. It just seems very convenient and a lot easier for the teacher to have those while teaching. So that's it. Any questions? Get now. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, if we have no questions regarding what you just talked about now, we can take those 2 at the end when we open up for questions, if people want to ask
Great.
some more questions. I just want to jump in and say, I forgot to say on the welcome that we are recording this just for parents who could not make it tonight. We're attempting to record it and to try to get it out to anyone who is not able to attend. Just want to make sure everybody was aware of that. Okay, we're going to move on now into new business. We will have the treasurer's report.
So in our bank account right now, we had about $4,241.61 with outstanding expenses of $70.10 for welcome supplies, and then $452.50 is actually paying for the games from the fundraiser back in February, March that we had, because the game place had been closed since COVID until recently. We are still waiting on checks for Chuck E. Cheese and Texas Roadhouse that happened before COVID. And then PTA membership dues. We've collected actually about $230 now, PTA membership dues. So we're doing good there.
Can I just have, can I just put an update on the Texas Roadhouse? Lisa did contact them, and we are picking it up sometime next week.
Yeah, I coordinated with Lisa today as well, and I contacted Chuck E. Cheese, and we should be getting a check issued, I think, the next week as well, but that will be coming in the mail, just so you guys know.
Okay. And I know, Monica, you did talk to her today, and not typically we do like to pick them up, especially now, because all of our mail, school mail now goes to district. And I'm not saying it
Yeah,
you know,
she explained that, but I think it's coming from a different state, so there's nothing, it's not coming from the actual store. It's coming from
Got
the
it.
corporate office. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, great.
There was
So
a
we will let
question.
you know as soon as we get those in-house.
There's a question in the chat whether we know how much we raised for those two.
We don't.
Okay.
I asked Lisa if she asked, and she didn't ask Texas Roadhouse. And Monica, did they tell you at Chuck E. Cheese?
So I talked to the manager at the store and she contacted corporate, and of course she didn't ask corporate, so I wasn't gonna ask her to call back because I know we'll see it in the next 2 weeks hopefully. So we will
Right.
have an update for everybody once we have our next meeting next month. Everything will be up to date.
Got it.
Great. All right, I'm going to interject before we jump into the PTA name change proposal, just because this is a little bit added from Ms. Johnson. She was speaking about headphones for teachers. We're looking at about 12 headphones for teachers roughly. We have to price them out at this moment, but they're running anywhere from about $20 to $50. I would like to have, if someone could make a motion to approve that the PTA will go in and possibly purchase headphones for the teachers at that price. I'd like to make a motion so we can kind of go ahead with that. So if someone could make a motion for that, that would be great.
Sure, I can make a motion for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I have a second?
I'll
Second.
second that.
Okay. Everyone who is fine with that motion, please say yes.
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 Aye.
Yes.
Or aye. Sorry. Thanks, Carmen.
Yes.
Anyone opposed?
Maybe we can explain a little bit on how this process works. I don't know if a lot of new parents know. Did we plan on doing that?
Oh, so thank you, Monica. So the motion is for PTA members to agree to, it's like a vote. So if you're a PTA member, you are a voting member. So the person who can motion it has to be a PTA member, and for the first and the second motion, and to agree, you need to be a PTA member, or to disagree, you need to be a PTA member. And then if there is a disagreement, we note that as well. But we need to do that in order to go forward with something of this nature, or anything that's expendable, that's an expense, or anything new that we add into the PTA that hasn't been there before. We make motions for.
Margaret,
Any questions on that?
There was a question on whether you could provide the process for vetting out the prices for the headphones.
We have just come up with the prices for the headphones at this moment based on, we just got this information right now, today roughly. So we did a quick study on how much they would be in the low end and on the slightly higher end. And that's just kind of the scale in which we came up with. It could be somewhere in between there. I know that we talked about a pretty nice looking headphone for $35. But right now we're just getting an approval to spend money within that price range.
So nothing's final as of right now. We're just, making it,
Correct.
yes,
That we can move forward to approach this and to
start the process.
Start the process, exactly right.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because this is my first time ever, but did the teachers express that they want the headphones and that it would help? Okay. I was just curious because I'm a teacher and I'm not using the headphones, but if they want it, by all means, that's why I was curious.
I think they said it would make it easier to focus, to have it more localized and not have as much, background and things like that. So like Margaret said, it was a brand new idea that came up today. So
Okay, cool. I just didn't know if it was us coming up with the idea or teachers coming, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Ms. Johnson, do you have anything to add to that? Okay. So then we'll move on to a PTA name change proposal. Originally, when we became a PTA, we were intertwined with Goodland Elementary as well. We were trying to keep it as a cohesive school. So when we named our PTA, we named it Goodland PTA. But since Goodland Elementary is no longer part of the school and it's RUSD Montessori, we are looking to change the PTA name to RUSD Montessori PTA. So I would like to see if someone can make a motion to have a name change to RUSD Montessori.
I move that we change our name to RUSD Montessori PTA.
Can I have a second?
I second that.
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Aye.
Are there any questions about that? Okay. We can move on then from PTA names proposal. So we now have PTA board nominations. We were up for re-election as the end of last year. Because of COVID, we did not actually form a nomination committee, which would have gone out and searched for nominees for the officers. All officer positions are currently open. We have served our 2-year terms at this moment. So what we do now is we just make nominations off of the floor. So what this means is you can nominate yourself if you're interested in the position. Someone can nominate you if they think you would be good in the position. We will have to ask you that you're okay with the nomination if someone else nominates you.
Sorry, Margaret, you do have to be a PTA member in order to serve.
You do have to be a PTA member then in order to be on the board. You also have to be a PTA member to be on a committee as well. We are not voting for committees. That is not something we're dealing with today, but just so you are aware too that all of these things that we're doing requires a PTA membership. So I'm going to start. Are there any nominations for president?
I nominate.
I was going to nominate Carmen Ayers for president. So Carmen Ayers has been nominated. Do you consent to this nomination, Carmen?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any further nominations for president? Any further nominations for president? Anybody not have their microphone on? Okay, I declare nominations for president closed. Carmen Ayers is on for president. I'm going to vice president now. Are there any nominations for vice president?
I nominate Carolyn Frisch for vice president.
Carolyn Frisch has been nominated for vice president. Carolyn, do you consent to the nomination?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Are there any further nominations for vice president? Oh, there was just an accident outside my house. Sorry. My dogs are gonna bark like crazy for a moment. Riley, go back to your room. There was an accident outside. Car accident. I heard it. Go. It's okay. Everybody's fine. Cool. Sit down now, okay? I'm in a meeting.
What a PTA meeting. This is
Oh my goodness.
This is real life, you guys.
yeah, what is more? It's they're gonna be so boring when we're at school.
Okay, I declare nomination for vice president. Okay, so I declare nomination for vice president closed. Okay. Are there any nominations for secretary?
I found a car accident.
Thank you.
I nominate Elizabeth Barnes for secretary.
Elizabeth Barnes has been nominated for secretary. Do you consent to the nomination, Elizabeth?
I do.
Okay, excellent. Are there any further nominations for secretary? Any further nominations for secretary? Okay, I declare nominations for secretary closed. We're on to treasurer. Are there any nominations for treasurer?
I nominate Monica for treasurer.
Monica?
What if I nominate somebody and they don't want it?
Well,
How
that's
does
why
this
we
work?
ask. We ask. So if Monica
so-
says, yep, no thanks, then we move on.
Okay, so Paul,
Well, hold on. I gotta have to let Monica accept first.
got it.
Okay, Monica. And your last name is it Couchier?
Kusheri.
Kusheri. Monica
Yeah.
Kusheri. Do you accept the nomination for treasurer?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, now Lisa, you can go.
Okay, I just wanted to nominate Paul. I didn't know if he was interested or not.
It's okay.
I would prefer not to do it anymore because
Great.
there's a
I
lot
just-
going on in the district right now.
I hear you. I just wanted to be sure.
No, I appreciate it though.
You're welcome.
No problem. All right, are there any further nominations for treasurer? Yeah, I have people standing outside my house watching my accident. So I apologize if my dogs are going to bark because it might be a difficult evening. Okay. If there are no other further nominations for treasurer, I declare nominations for treasurer closed. So the slate for president is Carmen Ayers. For vice president, Carolyn Friesch. For secretary, Elizabeth Barnes. For treasurer, I'm going to say this wrong again, Monica Kucheri, right?
So like the cooking wine sherry, but put a Kucheri.
Kucheri.
Yeah.
Yep. And that should close out the nominations for the board officers. Great. So what happens now is 30 days from now, we will have an election because there is only one person under each office that has been nominated. We do not have to do a ballot election. We can do, sorry, I was reading something. So we don't have to do a ballot election. We can do a voice vote because there's only one person per office. So we will do that at the next PTA meeting, which will have to be 30 days from now. Because of that, that means we won't be able to have the PTA meeting on the first Thursday of the month like normal. We will have the PTA meeting, I believe, on the second Thursday of the month. Is this correct, Elizabeth? That'll be 30 days?
Yep, so it'll be on October 8th.
Yes, October 8th. Okay. Any questions? Excellent. So I will close out that part of our meeting. We can move on. Excellent.
So up next, I just wanted to show everyone a video from the National PTA about PTA membership. Hopefully it'll cooperate with me here.
See it. I only see you share a screen, I think. Let's pause.
So no one can see the video?
No, you got to share that screen.
I am sharing
I can
it.
see it.
I can see the video.
Everybody but me?
Mute, though.
I see it.
I see it.
Oh.
Pull out, Monica.
All right, I don't know what I'm
I'm gonna
seeing
mute
then.
you guys.
I just see your beautiful face.
Oh, well, I could act it out.
Yeah, yeah.
IPTA to bring sunshine to someone's cloudy day.
The reason why IPTA is to be a voice and an advocate for all children and to help bring families and
What are you doing?
communities together.
PTA to bring innovative programming and create meaningful engagement among the families of school communities.
I PTA by being a reading and lunchroom buddy for first and second graders at Jefferson Elementary School.
Yo ayudo a la comunidad traduciendo para las familias en Annandale High School y donando comida a la comunidad en Annandale.
So I wanted to show that video because part of PTA's national campaign this year is really trying to dispel some of the myths around PTAs and PTA memberships. Being a member of the PTA, one of the biggest ones is that the only people that are members of the PTA are the people with a ton of free time or a ton of money. I'm neither of those people. So I really want to talk about why being part of the PTA is important. And why having a strong PTA at our school is so important. So firstly, your involvement is critical to your students' success. And there's a lot of research that the PTA has done that's over many years. It's clear and consistent that family and parent involvement at school correlates with higher educational success and performance. It improves the school community. Studies have also shown that the top two commonalities among the most successful schools in the US are that they have strong school leadership and strong family involvement. So those two are common factors across the board. And when families and educators work together, students tend to earn higher grades and enroll in higher level programs. And additional studies have found that children whose parents are advocates for them at school are more confident and tend to take on and achieve more. Next, PTAs also help build strong and inclusive schools. So having a diverse and inclusive membership builds strong connections across families and classmates and teachers and administration. I know for me personally, it's helped me build quite a few relationships with other parents that I wouldn't have if I didn't show up to PTA meetings. We really need your voice and your diverse experiences to help shape and mold this school community into one that is open and welcoming and quite frankly reflects the children that we serve. And lastly, I also want to revisit what the ultimate purpose of the PTA is. It's to ensure our students and children get what they need, not just to survive, but also to thrive. And the PTA has been around for 120 years and has a history of advocating on behalf of students and families. Some of the things that you may not know that they're partially responsible for are establishing universal kindergarten in the US, the National School Lunch Program. And so while those efforts all seem monumental and gigantic, they all started right here in local meetings where parents were voicing concerns or are saying, this isn't working for us. And I just want to close and show you a word cloud of all of those words that you gave me earlier. Let me see if you can, somebody give me a shout out that you can see it.
I can see all of us.
You can see all of us.
I'm not a good person to ask, yes.
Oh boy. Here, let me try again. I think I wasn't letting Carmen share. Carmen, are you able to share now? Sorry about that. There we go.
There you go.
You guys, we practiced this multiple times, so I'd like you to all know that we tried to make this smooth and seamless. Oh, well, we'll move on.
We can post it on the PTA page.
Yeah,
for
we'll
sure.
post it when we're done. I hope that once you take a look at that, you'll see some commonalities in those words that you shared with me at the beginning of the meeting, where you talked about what your role was in your students' education, and the words that showed up in that word cloud, and the common purpose that the PTA shares in advocating for our kids. All right, so moving on to our next agenda item. This is a committee updates. So the first committee update is for the fundraising committee. And since I have the first two items, I'll just continue on. Did anybody have questions before I move on? Sorry. Okay. So for old business in the fundraising committee, first off, game right sales, just revisiting that. Unfortunately, those were delayed. We ordered them in, well, we didn't order them. We attempted to order them in the end of March, and then were promptly told, hey, we're not working in the building right now. So we were able to get those games delivered last month, and they have been mostly handed off. I have a few parents I still need to get in touch with, but that sale raised close to $350 for the school. And then for our new parents, just a reminder, well, and I guess for our veterans too, if you don't have it, a reminder about box tops for education. We are still listed as Goodland Elementary School in Racine in that app. So if you download the app, you should be able to search for Goodland. And it's as simple as scanning your receipts to scan for box tops, and we're clipping the actual top off the box. And then also we have the shoe drive. Obviously we can't collect your shoes at the school right now, but if you're willing and able, if you're cleaning out the basement, set them aside for us. And hopefully once we get back into the building, we can collect all of those shoes. We need a ton, so please, gently used shoes. They can be kids, adults, it doesn't matter, as long as they're in decent enough shape that they could be reused. And I'll pass it off to Margaret for Penny Wars.
Okay. So Penny Wars we did not get to talk about that at the end of last year. In Penny Wars, we raised $858.20 with change, which was awesome. I have that Miss Ami one, and I think I have that correct, right? Miss Ami one, her class had $74.29 when all was said and done. I have a total from each class of what their totals were. So Miss Ami, $74.29. Miss Curran was $68.27. Miss Dundor had $34.39. Miss Palin had $26.27. Miss Becker had $17.22. Miss Marr, $14.26. Miss Baker ended up being negative $4.06. Miss Belts, negative $10.86, and Mrs. Clem had negative $17.52. So there was a lot of silver in their jars. For anyone who hasn't done a Penny Wars, what it is we put pennies and dollars. Pennies and dollars count as a positive, and then kids can put silver into jars, into different classrooms jars to be a negative. So if you put in 100 pennies and someone puts in a quarter, you went from 100 to 75. That makes sense. One interesting fact about our penny war that we had is while Miss Palin only ended up being positive $26.26, her jar had a total of $259.57 in it. So that was awesome. So that was my penny war update, and I really hope that we can do this again if we get into school and and hopefully we have, you know, change in March. The next update is for the flower bulb sale. So far we have raised $153. We've had about 7 orders. Last year we raised about $800 there. So hopefully we will have some more orders by the end of the month. And this is not class. You cannot raise your hand to ask a question. And so hopefully we'll have more by the end of the month, and we should probably put those out again on the parent page now that hopefully everything else is kind of calming down as far as constant posts. But that is what I have for Penny Wars and fall bulb sales.
I will put that on our Facebook page as well. I think that's a great fundraiser. So just so you know, I'll do that.
Perfect. And just so you know, on these, it is 100% guaranteed if you do plant them yet this year. So, and they're actually out of Milwaukee. So this fundraising company is out of Milwaukee, so it's local, which is nice too.
Good.
All right, Carmen, I think is next, right?
Yes. So last year we had started the work and laid the groundwork for having a Montessori masquerade, and we were set to have it in May, but obviously COVID happened. But we were forward thinking at the time and thought this would be a great opportunity for us to do on an annual basis. So we had already reserved the location at not Roma Lodge, why am I saying that? In Fasino's on Rapids, for us to do it for this upcoming May. So we're hoping to hold that date. We're hoping that it will still happen there. We're hoping that life will return to normal and that we will be able to do the masquerade. So we are still moving forward as if it's going to happen. And so hopefully that will be our big fundraiser for the year, and it will continue to be an annual event, but we already do have the location secured. And in theory, it should be a beautiful event. And I'm sorry that we had to cancel it for this past May. And I also have an update. We do have the ability to do a fundraiser for a pop-up. So Dragon Pit Barbecue, I don't know if others have gone and had the experience, but the chef Emerson is a wonderful person. Oh, it's the first Friday in May. So whatever that is, I'm sorry, Vanessa. It would be, I'll try to find what May is. The 7th, I think, maybe?
Yeah, the 7th.
Yeah. So that's what it would be. So he has offered to do a fundraiser for us, and that would be COVID safe. The way that they have the setup for the Dragon Pit Barbecue is very safe. So we're looking at doing the event in October. The only issue is we can't do it the week of the 13th through the 20th, but we can set the date for any other date in October that we want to use. So once we decide what date we want to go with, that's set to go, and we will have that as an opportunity for a fundraiser.
I'm sorry, Carmen, what were the dates again? He couldn't do it?
The 13th through the 20th.
Got it. Because I'm just looking at the calendar, and I think staff has off the 29th and the 30th. Well, we can touch base.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. I just want to, do we have some other upcoming? I have another upcoming fundraising event to add real quick is we're going to be having an Usborne book fair, and we should be doing that in early November. She said that would probably be the best time to have one, as they do get holiday books in, and by the end of November they end up tending to be gone. So I'm working those details out as well. I don't have an exact time, just that it'll be sometime in early November. Okay, so then we can move on from that. We don't have anything for grant writing, so we're going to move on to bylaws, and Carmen has created some updated bylaws for us. So I'll move on to Carmen.
Yeah, so we have the ability and we have the duty to update our bylaws every 3 years. So we are at the point now where we needed an updated bylaws to be presented to the membership and to be approved so we can submit it to the state. I have drafted those bylaws for us to submit. We do have to vote on them, so we will be sending them out following the meeting today to all of the current members to review. If there are any sections that people have issues with or any concerns about any sections, you can send those updates, and we will discuss them at our next meeting so that we can vote on them, so we can submit them to the state after next month's meeting. I did reach out to Miss Anissa Dunn, who is on the call today, and she has agreed to follow up on those bylaws at this time. So during the presentation next month, instead of me making the presentation, the lovely Miss Dunn will make the presentation to the PTA. Does anyone have any questions?
I can't wait.
Right?
Yes.
Any questions? So we will be voting on those at the next meeting. Is that correct? Perfect.
That is correct.
Okay, then I think we can move on from there. So next we have family involvement, or what, do we have family involvement next? We already talked, do we have a calendar that we're presenting? Because I have that on my little Google PTA agenda list. Are we?
Yep, so it's up on the screen.
Oh, yes, okay, so September ongoing flower power bulb fundraising. I'm so black my screen for a minute. That's what we have going on right now. On September 13th through the 30th, we are going to do a city photo hunt where we're going to be going on a beer hunt. We will get more information out for that. That should be kind of a fun family event that everybody can take part in. We're going to put out some photos, and you have to try to guess where those photos were taken. In October, the Flower Power fundraiser is still going on. You have until the 10th to get your orders in. It closes out by the 15th at Flower Power, so I have to get the orders into them. So anyone who is not doing it as a direct ship, because you can pay $6 to have it shipped directly to you. If you want to run it through me, I can collect a check from you and I can order it myself. I have to send in the order, and if I get that by the 10th, then I should be fine and have it to them by the 15th. So just so you know, the 10th is the last date for ordering any bulbs. On October 1st through the 31st, we were looking at doing some kind of a fun pumpkin thing where we're decorating or carving or doing something fun for pumpkins for Halloween. So more will come on that. Carmen talked about the Dragon Pit Barbecue, which is great. Reflections Art Program. I do not have a lot of information on that. I think, was that Monica who brought that one up? Either way, we'll have a Reflections Art Program kick off in November, and we will have more information on that. Oh, you know what? That's a PTA thing. There's been so much going on this week. That is actually I looked into that. It's very, very cool. It's a PTA sponsored art event. Elizabeth showed this to us. That's right. We will get some information out on that too. And I don't know if we can get the art teacher involved or not. We'll talk to Ms. Johnson about that one, but it seems really, really neat. And the theme for the art program, Elizabeth, what is that? It is I Matter Because, right?
It was Carmen. Carmen, I don't know if you wanted to add.
Yeah, so the theme for this year is I Matter Because, and the children take that and there's a ... and then they develop their art around that. And there's multiple different categories. So it's not just pictures, it can be song, it can be dance, it can be video recording, it can be photography, whatever your children are into. And it's specifically important now under the current state that the world is in, because it is absolutely geared toward inclusion, and I think we all need a little inclusion right now, and so it's a really good way for us to empower our kids through art. I think that the arts help people further their thought processes and to enjoy life and to bring some happiness back. And the art is displayed, and if the children are really good and they make it past the regional competition, they can go on to the state competition and they get medals, and they can win money for the school, which is always fun. But it's also that sense of accomplishment for our kids to see their artwork displayed. And they, even if it's not COVID, hopefully, they do, for all the national winners, they do a big banquet. I think the last one was in New York. So it's kind of cool if their art is chosen.
Yes, thank you. I almost forgot about what exactly it was, but then it took me a second. It's super cool. I think it's going to be super fun. Okay, and then I did talk about the Sporan book sale. And then Build-A-Bear, that's also still in progress. We don't have a date yet, but that was Monica, correct?
Yeah, so it's not actually Build-A-Bear, it's actually a small local company. So I'm gonna kind of do some research and see, I know that they used to hold in-person events where people could just come and, but obviously given the circumstances, they make kits now where you can like send them, and they would make really good gifts for, anything. So we are gonna look into that, and there will be some information to follow in the coming months at PTA meetings.
Great. That'll be fun though. And then we have virtual multicultural fair in December. I can't remember who brought that one up. We had so many discussions that night.
That was me.
Thank you.
So yeah, so the hope is we'll be able to pair up with teachers if possible. And the goal is just around kids kind of sharing their holiday traditions during that last month of the year. And we'll likely have them post videos or pictures either on the Facebook pages, or they can send it to us via email and we can compile them. But it's really just a chance for the school try and build a little community, even though we're not all together, to find a way for people to share what's important to them during the holiday season.
And I thought that was a great idea too, especially because normally around that time we have a school gathering where we do talk about Christmas in different cultures. So if we can do this virtually, that'd be really fun for everybody. Any questions?
I just wanted to back up to the pumpkin bash in October. I'll be kind of spearheading that effort, but if anybody is interested in helping me, I'd certainly love some helpers. So get in touch with me and we can chat.
Lori.
Hey, Lori.
I just was talking to Liz about Montessori Services has a Small Hands catalog that they do fundraising also. And with everybody being home, it might be a fun thing for families to look at that. And, if they want to get anything, it would be either for the classroom eventually or something to use at home. So something to think about as a fundraiser. They send you the catalogs and everything.
Definitely. Liz, you got the information on that?
Yeah, I've got it. I can follow up on it.
Thank you.
Awesome. When we get to the point that we are back in school, I'm the vice president of the PTO for my oldest son's school in Franklin, and we have a lot of really incredible fundraisers that have raised quite a bit of money. One of them involves a lot of in-school activities, but it's a knowledge-a-thon, but it brings in over $10,000 to the school every year. It's a much bigger school, but it's a really great event. So when we get to that point, just remember to tap on me and let's have a conversation about it, because now there's nothing we can do until we get to that point. But it's a ton of fun. The kids love it, and it's a really, really great way for parents that want to get involved but don't want to do more than like maybe an hour a year or 2 hours a year. But it's a really, really great event.
So that sounds good. All right.
And it's pretty much done. All we have to do is just translate it to Montessori. So all the background work and everything is there.
Okay, that sounds cool. Thanks, Missy. Before we move on to classroom parents, I just want to touch on communications. We sort of added, we're adding something to our PTA that we hadn't had before, which is a communications committee, and we don't officially have anyone on it, but Missy Stevenson has been doing a lot to help with Elizabeth and everybody, making really great graphics and things, and figuring out how to get communication out to people, especially in this time of COVID. And I know Missy Stevens is very interested in being chair of that committee. So, and I appreciate all the help that she's given so far. And just want to make sure we know that we are trying to figure out ways to be more open in communication, especially with everything going virtual. Any questions? Okay. I'm going to move on to teacher representatives and classroom parents. We reached out and got parents involved in our classroom pages again. We have made new pages for the new teachers. We have Carmen Ayers is Miss Missy's classroom parent. Nicole Gibson-Chosnick is for Miss Diana. Monica is for Kimberly, Ms. Kimberly. Carolyn is Ms. Ami. Carrie Morey is Ms. Danette. Missy Stevenson is Mary Ann. Elizabeth Barnes is for Ms. Dundor. I am for Ms. Melissa. And Jennifer Schweitzer is for Ms. Belts. So we have everyone signed up for. Everybody is actively being a classroom parent, and what that entails is communication between the parent and the classroom and the teacher. So the teacher has teacher-to-parent communication coordinator is what this person does for everyone in their classroom. They put out whatever classroom events might be happening. They talk about coordination for things. They're a general resource for questions about the school, technology, or classroom. And they are a social media moderator for your class. So if you do post to the page, most of the time it goes through that classroom parent. And we're really trying to keep these pages as informative as possible, so it's an easy access to see what's going on in your room. So then we should probably talk about what isn't a room parent. It is not a replacement for communications from or with your teacher. So if you have a direct question or issue or problem with your teacher that does not involve the entire class, that is something you still need to communicate with your teacher. They are not a classroom event and coordinator. They don't coordinate events for the class. They just tell you if there is an event for the class, and they don't supply things for the class or for the teacher or for the kids or the parents. They're just strictly talking about what is going on in the class as far as events and what's needed. They aren't a resource or questions for concerns about student performance or behavior. So if you have questions or concerns about performance or behavior, you still need to talk about that with your teacher specifically. And they are also not an arbitrator or an arbiter of classroom drama. So anything that seems to be a major issue, they're going to refer that either to your classroom teacher or to Ms. Johnson.
Is it okay if I say a few things, Margaret?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, so I would like to see if there are current parents that utilize Facebook and that have been on these pages since we kind of started. Feedback's always great, so any type of tips. We've been trying to make actual events for a lot of these activities. So all of those, that timeline of events from the previous slide, as they're happening and new information comes out, we will cohesively be working together as the classroom parents to post those events, and they'll be consistent. So definitely utilize that. And we're also, if you're not on Facebook, we're going to talk about, you know, some other options as we go through this presentation. But would love any feedback if you guys have been a part of the Facebook page, just to see, you know, if it's been helpful. Thanks.
Thanks, Monica. All right, any other questions? Okay, we will move on to the parent survey. Okay, so the parent survey is something that will go out. We'll try to put it out to at the end of this meeting tonight. It'll come out in an email, or it will also be available on Facebook. It's just a question from the PTA asking about how we did in the past, what can we do going forward. It's going to ask you if you are interested in any of the committees, or how you would like to be involved in PTA. And it's going to just help us best serve as an advocate for you and your students' needs. So please fill it out. I encourage you to fill it out. It will only help us out in our quest to make the school better. So I encourage everyone to take a look at their emails when they're done, if they have signed up for email communication. And if you haven't, that is something you can still do. If you have not joined the PTA, you can join the PTA and give your email and ask for email communications that way as well. Any questions on that? Anything to add to that? Elizabeth, Monica, anybody?
I just noticed that Elizabeth just put the link in the chat, you guys. So if any of our parents are not currently PTA members and who would like to become or learn a little bit more, that information and that form is now in the chat box. And we will also post it to the actual pages as well on Facebook.
Liz, maybe you have an answer to this, but do we know how many families have signed up, or memberships that we have right now for the PTA, and what percentage of that, of our entire school, do we have as members now?
I don't necessarily know the percentage of the school, but we have approximately 20 families at last check. So it's a decent amount of people. I'm really excited that we got that many folks on board before our first meeting. But as much as possible, if you are a current member, I ask that you reach out to people that you know in the school that aren't, and invite them to join us.
Thank you. That's awesome. It might not be a bad idea when we get going to have like bring a buddy. Eventually, you know, ask every PTA member to maybe bring 2 or 3 buddies to a meeting. And, you know, I mean, we can't like ply them with wine or anything, but we could, you know, it's worth it. I think that everybody that, and as classroom parents too, I think that when we're talking with parents that are coming to us with concerns, also just that encouragement of, hey, while you're at it, after you talk to your teacher, you know, make sure that you're joining the PTA so you can be more involved too. So get people where they're at.
All right. So now is truly just open time for questions. We scheduled an extra hour. Normally PTA meetings are only going to be from 6 to 7, but we just didn't know what it was going to look like tonight. So if folks have a question, feel free to put it into the chat or just unmute yourself and ask. I do see one question in the chat. What's the difference between the family membership and an individual? It's truly just a matter of how many people are going to have voting rights within the PTA. So if you and your spouse both want to be able to vote and have 2 votes count for your family, then you would want to sign up for the family membership. If your spouse isn't all that interested, then or partner, then it would just be an individual membership.
I have a question because I have to put things in the calendar way in advance. Are we planning on doing them at 6 o'clock every first Thursday, or do we not have a time yet necessarily?
6 o'clock is the current plan, yep.
Okay. And then one other question for box tops. I still have clippings. Like, I still have boxes. Maybe that's really bad because I still have boxes in my pantry with stuff that's not expired yet. So can we mail that into the school, or can those even be used anymore? I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I'm writing down a note to ask Lisa Dabrowski.
Okay.
I have an answer to that somewhere. Hold on. Let me take a look.
There you go. Well, if Missy can't find it, I will find you the answer, Vanessa.
Okay.
Don't wait on me though. I'll find it. It's just going to take me a minute.
Anybody else have questions? We have a few teachers on the line too, so.
And these questions can be not just about the PTA, right? Like they just in general, school, virtual learning. We may not have the answers, but we were being the advocates to get the answers and really coordinate with the teachers and with the principal and things like that. So it's really just in general, anything.
Yes, correct.
Margaret, I sent you that list of questions from the membership forms. Do you have it?
Did you send it to, what did you send it to? Oh, to my email?
Yep.
And my daughter's, hold on. Did you just?
I sent it yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to find it. Yesterday. Welcome PTA members and first meeting reminder. No, that's
While she's looking, I can tell you that.
Oh, I've got it. Sorry. Go ahead. You go home. Go ahead.
So the submission date for physical is by 11/1/20. So that's the latest that we can get them mailed in. So the sooner the better. And then once we switch over to completely digital, you have 2 weeks from the date of purchase to get them scanned in to count them. But for now, we have until 11/1/20 to get them all sent in.
Okay. So Vanessa, are you
11/1/20?
Vanessa, are you comfortable in mailing those in? And I'll just give Lisa a heads up that they're coming.
Yeah, I'll wait to eat some of those boxes first, and then I'll put them all together.
Okay.
I was going to mention something. I don't want to necessarily have it be official because I don't know what's going to happen come spring. But I am a photographer, and I was talking to Margaret about it, and I've talked to Sarah Hempel before. But I'm thinking, since I can't be as involved as I'd like to be, I was thinking of maybe doing some type of fundraiser having to do with either individual kid portraits or family, but like a quick, fast in and out in the park type of thing. I don't know how much we charge. It's just like a little seed of an idea. And again, I don't want to be like, hey Vanessa, when's that event? But just so we can think about it. I don't know how much time is usually open in the spring, or I guess it could be in the summer, like off, not in, and we could even have other family. It wouldn't have to be just schools, our school, but obviously I don't want to be working like 2 weeks on the photos or anything, but at least it's something I could maybe offer. And then also Missy, I mean, I kind of did this by myself anyways, but taking pictures of events and stuff, I'd still like to do that, even though it's not like an official position necessarily, but yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I did bring that up to the board, and that is definitely something we are super excited about.
Vanessa, in the old days, that used to be called historian.
Historian, okay, I'm fine with that title. I can have a little cap that says like press on it.
Yes, historian.
I just want to say how blessed we were to have you do that the last, 4 or 5 years, however long you've been in the program, because those pictures are some of my favorite. And I love going back and seeing how the kids have grown and the pictures of them with the teachers. So, as a parent, thank you so much for those, because they're phenomenal. They're so much better than the ones that we take on our phones.
When
our
it's
kids
just fun.
not
I'm
looking at
hoping
us.
maybe even this year we can even get like videos of certain things, setting up a tripod. I mean, I have ideas, but again, I don't want to miss, you know, my kids are always like, oh, come see this, Mom. So I don't want to be, you know, doing stuff all the time necessarily. But when I bring my camera, I can't help but like take pictures of other things. So anyway, I'm glad you like them. I like doing it.
Yes, we love them. We are blessed, truly. Okay, so the questions you're asking, the questions that you had gotten off of the PTA membership form, is that correct what you're asking, Elizabeth?
Yep.
So how will COVID affect the process of PTA and what is the vision of the school year, those questions?
Yep.
Okay, yes, I have them.
Do we want to speak? Yeah, do we want to talk about COVID and kind of what our process is going to be, at least until we're, you know, until we're back in the school building?
Yeah, I did come up with some answers to a few of these. I mean, this is just discussional. And I think kind of what we're doing in how COVID has affected the process of the PTA is partly obvious because we're all virtual at this moment. Everything is virtual. Our fundraisers have to all be considered with regards to safety and health. So we're trying to do more online, more things that are not in person, but still trying to figure out how to be personable about it, which is why some of the community ideas with the pumpkins and the art is something we can still kind of do on our own, but still share together. I guess that was, so that's what we're thinking of when we try to think of ways to do this with COVID. The other thing that's a huge deal is that we can't gather at school. So really in any way, we couldn't have used the school grounds even to have a drive-through voting if we would have needed to have a ballot vote, which was what was recommended by PTA for our nominations and our vote and our elections. So that would have been hard for us too. Luckily, we don't have to do that at this moment. We can just do a voice vote, but there's a lot of things that we are considering that we have to consider when we think of what we can and can't do now. And you have anything to add, Elizabeth or Carmen or Paul?
Not really. I think we're just, I mean, we're going to continue with the virtual meetings until it makes sense to move back to the school. And, you know, if we determine that virtual meetings are working for parents better than joining in the school, maybe we think about a hybrid of Zoom and in person, but you know, we're just gonna, like everything else, we're gonna evaluate it as things change and move. So.
One of the next question is, what is the vision for the school year? What I kind of thought of is we've really only been a PTA for a little over a year, like an actual real PTA for over a year. It was 2/20 of 2019 that we got our EIN number, so it hasn't been super long. So my vision for this year is to have working committees filled with excited parents, to create a fluid and cohesive PTA unit, to create lasting and yearly fundraisers. So as we experiment with different fundraisers, we're learning what does and doesn't work for us. And as we've gone through the first year, we found some ones that do seem to work really well. We're looking for social opportunities for everyone to get together and kind of feel hopefully like we're a school family. And obviously we're here for teacher support as well. Anyone else want to add to that? What do you guys think of that?
I know one of the questions that's going to be in the PTA survey is about what you hope to get out of the PTA. So, you know, I think having parent voice in that survey will help formulate kind of what we do moving forward this year.
I have one question. And Liz, I probably should have talked to you, but it might be a question for all of the Facebook pages. A couple families have been really wanting to get kids together, you know, like meet at Lockwood Park or something. And I'm on my page, but I struggle with that, and I don't know how to approach that for the families, since that page is now run kind of by you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
I just
like
know how you guys want to approach. I don't want to ignore it, and I don't want the families to feel like they're being ignored. And I understand they're wanting that socialization, but we have to think of how we can approach that maybe for them.
are they reaching out to you directly, or are they posting it on the Facebook page?
They're posting it on the Facebook page.
Okay.
I think it would be, oh, go ahead.
I would say I think that the only thing that we can do at this point is, you know, let adults be adults, and also we can maybe share our best practices as Facebook, you know, or classroom parents. Yeah, it makes me feel uneasy too, but I think if we just remind people that if you are getting together in small groups, here's your best practices.
Okay.
And I mean, like the hard part is we know that, you know, like our fear is that these kids are going to be not in the class, you know, in the classroom. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. We are lucky that we had some like quarantine families that we've quarantined with, so the kids have gotten to play. But it's really hard right now. They're feeling really isolated, and so I know the CDC did come out and say that, or someone came out and said that, you know, small groups, if you're outside.
I would advise you guys just to connect the parents. They can Facebook message each other if they share the same Facebook page. They can communicate with each other directly and kind of get an idea of what their families are comfortable doing. And so I don't think there's any action needed on our part besides maybe just to write that. So whoever the classroom parent is, and if you see that activity, that would be my suggestion, because everybody's at a different place, and that's really not something we would be coordinating. That's something between them directly.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with that too, but I don't think it would hurt to do a best practices too of, hey, while we're all feeling isolated, you know, just a reminder.
So, I've written it down.
I'm just freaking out. The lawyer in me is freaking out right now. Like, as a PTA, as a school, we know that we are not allowed to do this. So if we start making any coordinations or any suggestions or anything, that is a legal issue that we do not want to walk into. So I'm just going to say that, like, I can't hear this. And with the lawyer in me, I cannot hear this because we know that we're not allowed to do this. This is why school isn't open. Like, we can't in any way go against what RUSD says, even in our little rooms. So I don't feel comfortable saying that we should post anything, because then that could bring liability to us, and I don't feel comfortable with that.
I don't think this is the space to have this conversation. So I've written it down. We can discuss it as classroom parents, and we can discuss it as a PTA board, but we don't need to ruminate on it right now.
No. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
That's okay.
No, it's such a good question, and it needs to be addressed. So it's good to get it out there and get it to where we can talk about it.
Yep.
What other questions were on that list, Margaret?
So I've got really off. In what ways will the PTA support parents and get more parents involved in the PTA?
So I know personally, part of my goal this year is around membership, is really driving and making sure that people feel like they've been invited. And so in the past, it's always kind of been presented as an optional thing, like, hey, if you want to join us, maybe come. We're going to, at least personally, I've been trying to be a bit more direct in asking parents and posting to the groups. So, you know, we're going to try as much as we can to get folks to come to these meetings and join the PTA so that they're part of the emails that are going out and a voting member, so that the things that we're doing this year are being done with more voices having input.
Just to coincide with what Liz said, it's not just about the support of the parents, the teachers as well. I'm so grateful to have as many teachers on the call tonight as that we have, but we also know that PTA is there's a big T in that PTA. So we want all you teachers to be members as well. And we are supporting your memberships. We just need to know that we want to give you full rights as a member of this PTA. So you're not just dropping in when you can, you are full participants in this because you are such a vital part of what our school is. So we want you voting. We want you active. We want you to be a part of these decisions. We want you helping us shape what this looks like because you know best how to make life wonderful for our kids in the school because you're doing it every day.
You're gonna make me cry.
Another aspect that we talked about from the very, very beginning and that I felt it was really important was keeping a virtual aspect to these because we aren't a neighborhood school. Like, for instance, I live like 15 to 18 minutes away where it's very hard for me to get to school. And the problem is that has always happened is school has terrible internet. So we could, you know, live stream the meeting, stuff like that. Obviously, I don't know how that would work with, you know, the PTA rules on voting, or if we just delay a vote and then say, you know, next week, everybody come in if you want to vote, whatever. But I do feel like if we stream stuff, we'd have a lot more participation because, like I said, it's real hard to get there at night, drive 20 minutes. Some people are even 25 minutes away. You know, it's not an easy ride necessarily if you're on the north side of town. So
I agree with you, Vanessa. I'm hoping we can explore that option as well. The other thing that I don't know if it's official or not, but even just like a 6 o'clock hour from 7, I don't know if that will decrease participation because that's like dinner time or if, you know, there's a particular reason. So we're also going to be kind of discussing all of the options. So hopefully we want that, just like it's so important to have teacher engagement, we also want that parent, you know, camaraderie to really, and make it available and convenient for as many people as possible. So do you have anybody else have anything to add to that?
Nope, I don't think so. One of the other questions was, what is the best way to keep communication strong between families while distance learning? Hopefully our Classroom Pages is going to really do a lot for that. That should help keep communication between at least you and in your classroom. So I really encourage anyone to sign up and look for your Classroom Page. That is really the best way to get involved and know what's going on inside the classroom. Obviously, there's also teachers will email you, but you know, communication on there should be key as well. I think we are recording this for a reason. Part of it is so that we can get it to people who can't be here. So there's that. And as technology moves along, and some of us get better at it, maybe we'll find out other ways to do that as well. But we're learning as well. Anybody else have anything to add to that about between families and distance learning and communication?
Ask our teachers what they're finding is successful. You know, we're using email and the Facebook group. What are the teachers finding is working best for them for communicating?
Well, right now we're working towards getting everybody on the Seesaw app. That's what our goal for the next week or two is, to get everybody on Seesaw. And make
I like that one the best out of all of them.
Yeah, me too.
I like that one the best out of all of them.
You do too.
Yeah. So
it wasn't overwhelming. I don't know. I feel like Google Classroom is really overwhelming for me.
It was not for the little ones, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, Noah went on Seesaw today and was just like, click, 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 click. And then he was like, I'm done. And I was like, this is fantastic.
I also think that for Seesaw, we just need to clarify that, like, I think the little bit of a confusion that I think we're having, there's a family section to it, and then there is the kids section to it. So when the kids are logging in, they have to log in from class link. So maybe something to add on the Facebook page. And then not all teachers have sent it out, but like in the next week or so, there's another like family section where we will send out, and that's where you guys can chat and, you know, the messaging portion of it. So we just have to make those two things very clear, and I think that's where the confusion is happening a lot. And with some of my parents, at least, I see that frustration of, is like, where are we supposed to go? But there's two different parts to the Seesaw app. So we just want to make sure that our parents are understanding that one part is when they're doing assignments is through Class Link, and then the other portion is just for families, just to text back, message, and etc.
And families can only see the journal part on Seesaw also. They can't go into the activity part with their email.
Do we feel like we're reaching everyone? It's always a fear, or not a concern with the Facebook groups, is that are there people that aren't on that we're trying to reach? Do we feel like we are legitimately that everyone has a chance to not only be involved with the PTA, but have that communication that's coming home, making sure that it's clear and concise and meeting people where they're at? Like, are we missing a chunk of folks, of families, or do we feel like we've done a good job of getting in front of everybody?
I think just from looking at my classroom page, I have a lot of third graders and a lot of second graders. I have just maybe 3 or 4 first grade parents that signed up. So I don't know if that's just because they weren't on a page before, so they don't know about it. So I'm wondering if I'm having a hard time with those first graders. Is it hard for, you know, the 3K to 4K pages to try to reach out to those families, because we aren't really allowed to have their emails necessarily. So I think that's kind of our biggest hurdle. So I don't know if there's a way for teachers to try to push that out there too, try to get people to let parents know that there's these pages that you can join.
We did put it in the welcome letter that went out with all packets at packet pickup. And we asked in there specifically if you wanted to join our mailing list, send us an email. I've had a couple people. So I do feel like we've reached out aside from Facebook. People, honestly, they just might be overwhelmed right now. I know for us, you know, there's a lot of new apps and technology that we've been trying to tackle. And if I wasn't on the board, I don't know that PTA would be front of mind. So with the next packet pickup, I think we'll probably want to do another outreach for the PTA and just keep trying to get a hold of those families that aren't on Facebook.
We're also, that parent survey, I think, has some information on that too. So that will be our next tool to try to coordinate that. And then, yes, I think we should do packet pickup for sure again. I think that would be the best way to reach as many people as possible.
Do we know when the next packet pickup is going out, so we know when to get this information together to get to the school to get in the packets by chance?
I'll be honest, because Vanessa, I know you had a packet for Lyle, and his packet goes like through the end of September, right? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah,
so
it was large. I didn't go.
I don't know that.
Yeah, it went like 4 weeks.
We can
So
ask.
is there going to be I don't know if there's going to be. Is there going to be another packet pickup?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working on it right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Miss Johnson. Yeah, Miss Johnson said at the beginning of the meeting that we were all going to get materials that were built. So we know there's at least one more. I just don't know.
For the materials.
Yeah.
But,
so when the Chromebooks come in for K3 through 2, those families will be picking up a Chromebook and a Montessori take-home kit. We will also open that up for third years who already got their Chromebook to get their Montessori take-home kit.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the next thing should be the Chromebook, right? I mean.
Yes.
Okay.
So hopefully in 3 weeks. And then also, you know, past that, we hope to be in person in November, and that will come out, I think they said October 19th. That decision will come out.
Okay.
So we are looking at just one more Chromebook kit pickup day.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Margaret, what was next on the list?
So we have How can we best support the families during this new learning experience?
Well, I think part of that effort was with stronger classroom parents this year and making sure that we have a designated person for each classroom that's touched base with the teacher. So I think that's part of the effort. I'd be curious from other folks that haven't been speaking up, if there's anything that you feel like is lacking, like that you haven't had so far that you feel like would be helpful in making sure that you've got what you need to be successful.
I know I've been really counting on Liz to help and when we have our group meetings and stuff, and I really appreciate that, Liz.
Yesterday I showed up with a beer so that everyone knew that I was just as stressed as them.
Really lighten the mood.
I mean, if anything, I feel like there's too much, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if, so there's a lot of links and a lot of like help things, but then I feel like it's just like, what's most important then? You know what I mean? Like, what actually should I be concentrating on? Like, oh, here's another link that might help you, or here's another link that might help you. I'm like, too much. Like, just tell me, like, I feel like that's awesome, and maybe people who can handle a lot of information at once, but maybe do like a recap then, like, this is the must type of thing, instead of so much stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I just need to know the must, because that's all I can handle right now. And it's not even me handling it, it's the Saint Natalie who is handling it. But it just needs, for me, and I'm sure for other people, it needs to be a little less and a little more condensed. I don't think I need any more suggestions or anything. I just need it like succinct, if that makes sense.
So Vanessa, are you feeling that way for your third year or for your younger? Because you have a third grader and a...
Yeah. Well, I feel like Isaac doesn't really, can't really be included in that, because he just in the fall or in the spring, I literally just set up the tabs and then he just did everything. So it's a hard scale because Lyle is on the opposite end. Mm-hmm. So I can't really speak for third. I mean, Natalie would probably have a little more insight on that because Maddox is in third, a different teacher, but I just know in general, if Isaac wasn't so self-motivated, I don't really worry about his stuff. So I don't know. I just know it's just a lot. And I could be wrong, but it seemed like, so now we're having, we have Montessori lists of things to do, but then we got the RUSD packet and they're totally different. So it's like, okay, well, we can't cover it all. So what are the musts again? What are the musts?
So I will just say that when I found out probably a week before RUSD was putting out packets, so I said, I'm going to do packets. I'm doing Montessori-based packets because that's what we're going to do. And like day one, I was like, I can't do that. Like, I can't do this because Taff wasn't back. Lisa, I succumbed to the fact that it was too much of a project. So I said, send me those RUSD kits. We'll try to supplement as much as we can. But my suggestion to you is certainly you can use the RUSD packets that they sent, but I would say keep touching base with your teacher and hopefully they can give you more ideas Montessori based to do at home.
Yeah.
Can I add something? So as a new parent, I really, really appreciated the Facebook groups. Like,
good.
Above and beyond, like really just, especially because like you said, like it's really hard to keep track of everything, like the Zoom call here, Zoom call there. It's been really, really helpful, like to just be like, all right, I know I have to do this right now and I can only think 5 minutes ahead. So it's been good.
Thank you for that feedback. That is so awesome. And on top of that, like I said, that's, I think, our goal. What I like about Facebook is it reminds you. So if we make everything as events, then Facebook will kind of keep you on track. And then if you need a link to somewhere, it's either in your email, if it's specific to your child, or if it's a group thing, you can find it in the Facebook event on your teacher's page. So that's kind of our goal. Missy, were you
And
gonna-
Monica, that's a good point too. Like, I wish there was a way to do that with the classroom materials. Like, in the sense, like, okay, can we send out Google invites or some kind of calendar invite for their class meetings? Like, so Natalie is handling X amount of kids and has different meetings at different times. I'm trying to like maybe a suggestion on what to use, or I know the teachers don't need another thing, but some kind of, like how you said, the events that like go on something and everybody knows when it is and a reminder and da da da. I don't know if that, Miss Ami, I don't know if that's like a whole nother thing that's too hard, or if it's built into Google Classroom somewhere that we can tap into.
I'm not sure what, but I know I missed Maddox, a meeting for Maddox today. And Vanessa, if you hadn't texted me yesterday, or even that was today too, I don't know, but that we would have missed Isaac's as well. There's just too many moving pieces, and I don't think that it's all like succinct enough for me to be able to see.
So the other thing that I suggest, if Natalie is the one kind of being hands-on with your children, she should also join that page as like one of their caregivers. Like, we are being very selective. Yeah. Okay, good. And I think that this is a question for the teachers I have. So Miss Ami and Miss Dundor, I know that you're on here. Is there like a list of just, you know, concepts or skills based on grade, like the top, like what they should be getting through that maybe as a classroom parent, I could post for my class, right? K3, K4, K5. Like, this is our goal for the year. These are the main concepts. Like, you know, that way we don't necessarily, you're going to have your individual works and individual time, right? According to it. But maybe that would be helpful, Vanessa, to just kind of know. I can't give you specific.
Here's something that might lessen your guys' worry. The district has lessened the load for the standards based, and that we're gonna just have 3 standards in each area, which usually there's a ton of standards in each area. I think we chose 3 standards for each area that we're going to be grading whenever we grade. What?
I can speak for the elementary. So Isaac is doing an amazing job, and communicating with Natalie has been fantastic, and Riley's been doing fantastic as well. So in our parent meeting that we had for starting the first parent meeting, I think it was really helpful. Margaret, I think she posted the video of it so that everybody could watch it if they weren't able to attend for elementary. And we have a curriculum plan that we're using. So everything for all of the weeks for the first quarter is on there, all of the goals. And I think that's been really helpful, that there's a consistent schedule for the class meetings as well. So we have our morning meeting every day, and we kind of go over a suggested schedule for the day. So I think that's a good place to look for elementary, is just that curriculum plan, because everything on there for each week is there, and then everything for the whole first quarter is there, broken up week by week. So I think that's a good place to kind of see that overview that Monica was talking about for elementary parents.
Melissa, is there any way, so what would be helpful, and either one of us can also help, is to maybe, I like to see things in writing, like how do I get to where you're talking about, right? Like, go to this website, click on this, like an actual instruction that would be the best way that we could share it with parents, because even though you just said it, like, you know, to actually do it is something different, especially with all of our busy lives. So even if you walk us through it, maybe I type it up or something, would that be something that you guys would maybe help us do to make it easier?
But this is all in the Google Classroom, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. But yeah, there's a lot.
It'll be different for you. It would be different for you though, I know, anyways, Monica, that, because Melissa, I think, does it even different than other other
Well, it would be
teachers in the
specific
first
to
or
your
third.
classroom.
Right,
It would
right.
be specific, of course. Yes.
Right. But it's in the Google Classroom. Miss Melissa does a great job, and she puts out a schedule daily. So every day you can see from hour to hour what's going on. So what subject you're even supposed to be doing at the time, and what book you're supposed to be reading if you're picking a book. So yeah, I mean, I could probably put on there just to make sure you're looking at Google Classroom. It's also it also comes out on your child's email as well, but it's usually the day of, so you really have to be looking at it. But I mean, if you're logging in on Google Classroom, it should be there to see. So I think maybe if we write down at least what to look for when you're looking for it, so it's obvious, instead of having to scroll through 10 different things, you can see that it's the daily schedule.
I think it might be difficult too, because like this is new to me. I haven't started Google Classroom yet because my children aren't in school yet, right? I don't start till we get our Chromebooks. So you know, and honestly, as a new parent, I had no idea how to get into Google Classroom. I don't even know how do I check my kid's email? What, they have an email address, right? I don't know. This is where you guys, as an experienced parent who've been doing this for as many years, us new people, unless I have, like, I don't know, I've been obviously working with the teachers and figuring it out, but if I could help build a system for all of our new families going into this, I think that would facilitate less frustration, less questions, and I'd be happy to, a group of us I know on this call would be happy to kind of formulate that and assist. So I just want to throw it out there because, like I said, as the new parent, I know as much as I know, but I don't know what I don't know, and I don't always know what questions to ask to get to what I need. So I think that it might help.
So I wrote down.
Margaret has a video that that RUSD put out that is a tutorial for how to log in to the Google Classrooms just from any computer and then from Chromebooks as well. So I think that video could be really good for all the Facebook pages. It's about 5 minutes long and it's very specific. And for any of my first grade families that, the first and second grade families who haven't received Chromebooks yet, the teachers will be reaching out to set up like one-on-one meetings. And so maybe if that video is put out, then when the teachers do one-on-one meetings, they can just double check with the parents to see if they had any questions. With my first and second grade families, I checked in with them this week and just asked if they had any questions. And then a few families just needed a little walkthrough, like, what do we do? And then I could just go through it step by step, like go on www.rusd.org. Okay, find online technology. Okay, now type in your S number and your password so that everybody got the support they needed in terms of how to log in. And so I think those meetings with the teacher and the family will be really helpful for that. And then that video is super helpful. So that could be helpful, Monica. I think
yeah, I would love to incorporate that. Plus, like I said, putting something in writing exactly like that and how to find your S number. These people who are coming, families from 3K. I mean, Lisa, the secretary, helped me last year, but like, again, there was nothing in writing in my orientation packet or, I needed, maybe there was, I don't know. Don't quote me on this, you guys. But, it just, considering we didn't get to do an orientation this year and we did, there's a lot of new families and I just want to make sure that they don't feel like they know what they're doing and they feel comfortable. I
think that's a really good point because the teachers have to email those individually because we can't share other students' S numbers with each other because it's a violation of HIPAA or FERPA laws with sharing personal information. So it's something that has to be a one-on-one email or communicated one-on-one.
And I just meant to teach them how to log into our RUSD portal. That's where I found my kids, right? RUSD portal where you can look at their grades and you can do all that stuff. That's where I found my S number. So if we can just direct parents to that, how to facilitate that, we don't need to actually disclose any personal information ourselves. So, yeah.
So I think that in the interest of time, because we have like 10 minutes left, I want to make sure that there's no other questions. But Monica, I've written down this concern, and Miss Ami did volunteer to link up with staff too and address it. So I don't want to spin on this in the meeting, but we'll come back hopefully next meeting with some more concrete answers or resources as needed.
I'm going to say that we're just going to have it all done by next time.
I mean, and somebody did put in the chat, like, it feels overwhelming, but the teachers are still doing a good job. So please don't feel like we're saying you guys suck. I know personally, my kids are both still overly excited about the school year and are still having fun despite all the challenges. So know that we really value the work that you're putting in, and we recognize that this is not the school year that you wanted, and it's not the school year that we wanted.
Liz, can I just add that I know, Monica, you're putting out there that other parents like knew how to do this. I don't think any of the Montessori families or kids had to log into their email before this year.
No.
And I have my students I work with in school who are in 5th grade, they don't know how to get there. So this is something that everybody is facing. It's not just it's not just
I had to have a one-on-one meeting.
I did not know either.
Like, I had to have a one-on-one meeting with Ami. We just had it, was it this morning or yesterday? And that was what helped me. And we've been in the program. Grace started with the program the year it started. And having the meeting with Ami today, for her to be able to say, hey, this is where Noah specifically is at. This is what I would recommend that you work on, because right now we have the packet, and I'm a parent that I'm like, I hate this packet, so what can I do? And so having that one-on-one, this is what your child, which is what Montessori is, this is what your child, this is where he's at, this is how you could beat him where he's at. That was everything to me. So
that's happening once a week individually with each child, right?
Yeah, every week. Yep.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and so like there are parents that have been in the program for 6 years, and we're still like, help.
And that's even more reason why we should, do our best to kind of straighten things out. So yeah, we don't, like I said, we'll work on it together in the next month.
Just quickly, so Lyle moved up a grade this year. So Miss Ami knows real well where Lyle's at. But now Miss Kern does not. I mean, I'm sure she's talked to you, Miss Ami, or I don't know, maybe she hasn't. But I feel like the expectations for him individually are a lot higher than what he's prepared for right now when, just looking through everything. So that also maybe was part of my freaking out, having to breathe slowly type of thing. So how do we bridge that gap? Like, should that be something I do with the teacher, or is that something she probably already knows because she can sense those things? As a parent, that's what I'm worried about, as a parent whose child does not love school and is harder to get involved.
Vanessa, just to let everybody know who has a 1st grade child, it is night and day from us, from kindergarten.
Yeah.
It is night and day, but you know what? And I think the parents are more upset than the kids are, because they are ready for that challenge. They're ready for 1st grade. And the elementary teachers, they know exactly where those kids should go by just chatting with them sometimes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So they're going to give you more than what you can handle. I'm going to tell you that right now, because I was a parent with that too. And all of us parents, when my kids went into 1st grade, I was even at the point that I've never talked to a 1st grade to my 1st grade son. I've only talked to kindergartners, so I don't even know how to talk to a 1st grader. So it's just part of that transition to the next level.
And also the elementary teachers are reaching, like I know, like Miss Karen, and they're all reaching out to us, and they've asked us, where they're at and their personalities and what works best for them too. So we are communicating with them. We kind of meet with them and, you know, we've told them where they're, you know, what's their pros and cons and et cetera. So
that makes me feel better.
once we meet in person, I think it'll be a little bit easier. I know it's challenging.
Sure.
So, but yeah, they do keep in touch with us, and we do work with them. So.
And that's where those one-on-ones with Miss Kern will come into play, because every teacher was directed to have a one-on-one to do an assessment with each student. And I will say Miss Dundor is correct. Going from K-5 to first grade in any situation is hard. Going from K-5 to first grade in Montessori is even harder, because typically you've been with that teacher sometimes 3 years. And Dundor's right. The whole the atmosphere of the room is different, and our teachers have very high standards, which is great. But I have full faith and trust that that Kern will, you know, have a one-on-one with him and meet him where he is. That's what we do.
He's so shy, and I'm nervous that he's not. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like,
I know, and add to that, add to everything that I just said, and now we're virtual, and we don't have a lot of classroom community. But I'm telling you, the past 2 days that I have been on those third year Google Meets have been amazing. I literally had tears in my eyes. So I am super proud, and I'm actually kind of glad that they're starting first, so then they will have, they certainly can be the leaders that we know they can be. And in Montessori, that's super important. So he's going to be fine. I'm just tell him I'm still looking for that capital L for him.
Okay.
In cursive, because I'm like, I'm a capital L too. But anyway, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
If it helps for those that have first and second graders, anybody that is in Miss Marianne's class, I am so impressed with how she's managing the classroom and what they're doing all day. The first day I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to be here the whole time. I'm going to have to work, and I like set my desk up near the kids so that I was available the whole time. And now I feel like if I'm in the classroom, I'm in the way. So Grace is running all over the house looking for knobby things and and leaves, and she's painting, and she's doing all these really incredible, awesome things. And I am so, Miss Marianne has been such a blessing and such a great teacher for us. And and like I said, Ami's been amazing as always. Like that's like a given. But we in third grade with how everything's been set up with Google Classroom and the schedule that's being followed, and we know what to expect. We know when lunch is every day. We know when snack is. She knows when she has to be on. And that I was worried that Montessori wasn't going to have the right kind of self-starting for virtual learning, because it is so much of what we do. I was worried that it was going to be like a little bit like free for all in that, and we're not seeing that in Marianne's class. We're seeing a lot of guided learning, and then send you out to do your thing, but coming back and having that accountability there. And she's doing a really good job meeting the parents where they're at that can't have their kids on at 8 o'clock as well. So I can't say enough amazing things about Marianne. She's phenomenal. She's so awesome.
Yay. Thank you.
Great. So we've got 3 minutes left. Does anybody have a burning question they absolutely need answered? Otherwise, I think it's time to call it. We're slowly losing people.
And it's been the longest week ever.
Yes.
I know I was talking to some of the primary teachers this week, and somebody was like, it's Tuesday. It was legitimately the first day of school, and we were all exhausted. So.
You guys are so amazing, though. I just want to say that I've watched how hard everybody's worked, and because I set up all the Facebook groups, I get to see the teachers that are engaged, and then I get to see our teachers, and it's just so encouraging to see what's been happening and how, again, I've heard from so many different teachers saying, you are the parent, not the teacher. Let us teach. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Let us teach, and we'll take care of it. You just be there as needed, and it's been really awesome. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm really grateful for the millions of hours you guys are putting in right now to make that happen.
And Lily made a comment, and I responded to Missy because my fingers get in the way instead of to Lily or to everyone, about being overwhelmed in first grade. And we were all overwhelmed in first grade. I was overwhelmed with my daughter in first grade. It was just a total change, and so it was a lot to get used to. I can't even imagine what it's like to do it online. But I can tell you that the difference between the first day of first grade and the last day of first grade was just, it was the biggest change I've ever seen in my child as far as progress in education. And it's nothing, I mean, Miss Missy was amazing as well, because from when she started to when she ended, but it's just the change and the growth in first grade is really cool to see. So
I remember saying, I said to Ami, we want to come back to you. It feels so much nicer in primary. There's so much kinder down there. Like, here, she's got to work. Like, this is hard. This is legit, you know?
Yeah.
So, it was a culture shock. It was a big shock.
Every phase is different.
My daughter's learning is like back in my college days.
Yeah.
So yes, okay. So any other questions, or I think it's 8 o'clock. We should probably call it for the night. We good?
Yeah. Thanks everyone for being here.
We call this meeting to a close. Thank you guys, everybody. Thanks.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
See you tomorrow, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.